Good morning. Who goes there? Okay, we are starting a new Parsha. How exciting. Wow, 4 people. Excellent. Sorry for my slowness. I apologize for my voice. I think I'm in the end of this. I hope this last of this flu thing that I have. Read something incredibly cool this morning. Some friends from the channel sent me a tape of a guy who did who works with crop circles, and there was recently a crop circle, and it looked like a virus type thing. I put it on my Telegram channel, but anyway, he did some investigating, and it turns out that the crop circle was built around a tree, and he found out that the tree was walnut. So, and he did some analysis, and he found out that it could be that there are chemicals in the walnuts, in black walnuts, that counteract the virus.
Are you on YouTube?
What?
Are you on YouTube?
Yeah.
They're gonna take you down for misinformation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is my son said this is misinformation. This is just, anyway, go to my Telegram channel and check it out. It's a very interesting thought. I went out this morning and bought a bunch of walnuts because this thing does not seem to want to go away, and hopefully they won't take this vid down. But anyway, so that's the news on. Yeah, you think they'll take it down for that? That's misinformation?
They do that, I think.
What?
They would do that.
Yeah. Okay, look, we'll take a risk. I mean, please God, it could make somebody's life a lot easier, so it's not a terrible tragedy. Okay, so we're in a Parshas Beshelach, which means he sent. It means that Paro sent the Jews out. He said, "Sayonara, see you later." This is pretty cool. I mean, you would think they'd want to go. They didn't need an extra push, but it says in this overview that no, they needed a little extra push to get going. I mean, remember, last week we left slavery. This week we're going through the Sea of Reeds, the sea splits, and we escape, and all the Egyptian in chariots get drowned. This is a very pivotal week because we're not just leaving, and we had to leave a special route so that we wouldn't come back. It was not so easy to get the 1/5. Hey, Marianne. Also apricots in the yeah, I thought it was Marianne, you'll have to check this out on my Telegram channel. It was such an amazing piece of detective work that this he was actually a PhD in another field, but he checked out all these crop circles, and it seems like something was giving us a message. Paro? How I don't know how to pronounce it. I mean, is there another? Mendel, how do you pronounce Paro? Paro, I think it's Paro. I mean, that's the Jewish. Maybe I don't know. I don't know how it's done in non-Jewish circles. But I've already. I guess Parry. You could say Parry, maybe. Let's see. Let's see. Let's look at the Taich. Paroi. Yeah, you could say Paroi. Paroi. Okay, whatever. But anyway, Paroi sent them out with an F sound. Paroi. I have a P here. Is it Pharaoh? No, oh,
In
Pharaoh.
English, they pronounce it.
In English, it's probably Pharaoh, but in Hebrew, the pay, the letter pay can be either F or P. If it has a dot in it, it's a P. So we always pronounce it Paro, but it could be without the dot, it would be Pharaoh. So yeah, could be. So that's but for sure this one has a dot in it, so it's for sure a P sound. Anyway, so very interesting that they're saying, like, in this introduction. Let me read a little bit of the introduction, because I think it's like at least the beginning of it is very cool. But it says, Parshas Beshalach encompasses many major events, both sublime and momentous. The first stages of the Exodus, the miraculous splitting of the Sea of Reeds, and the divine revelations that attended it. The subsequent song of praise, that's Miriam's song where they all sang on the seashore. You know, they all sang praise of God. The descent of the heavenly manna and quails. Manna came down to feed them. And I think they also had the clouds of glory and the victorious battle against Amalek. Yet the Parsha is not named after any of these events. It's called Beshalach, when Paro sent the people out. Here it has a P also in the English translation. But since this word was chosen as the name of the Parsha, there's evidently something about it that encompasses. By the way, Marianne, I didn't mean to imply that you were associated with Mr. McGregor, the farmer who was after rabbits. I just really like your name. I didn't really even associate it. I didn't think of it until I remember that. Yeah, it was Mr. McGregor. But it's just such a cool. It's just such a kind of like a, like somebody as a friend is named McGregor. It's a nice, friendly sort of name. Anyway, there's evidently something that encompasses and transcends the Parsha's other elements. And again, I apologize for my voice. On the other hand, the word Beshalach implies that the Jews were unwilling to leave Egypt and had to be forcibly expelled. Now, remember, 4/5 of the Jews. Hi, Sister Carla Jo. Remember, 4/5, and I got that thing. Thank you so much. And Richard, thank you also. They're saying, I heard some intel last night from PG. Apparently, I'm not supposed to mention his name, but the second word starts with God, PG. And he was saying that everything is imminent. Everything is very close to happening. Yeah. Hey, Tara. Wow. So is Khan like that? That's going to make his life a lot better. It's a better diagnosis. Thanks, Richard. Yeah. By the way, I totally respect you for telling me not to try to teach Hebrew, because it's not my strong point. I really appreciate it, actually. And I did change the link on Patreon. You were right. It was no good. What are you saying, Tara? You're saying, yeah, I love the Peter Rabbit, especially the new movie. I really find, because I was forced to watch it over and over again when I was teaching, I really got to like it. What are you saying heals the lungs, Tara? Are we talking about the same thing I'm talking about, the thing that I mentioned before? So my son says I shouldn't mention it because the channel get taken down. Which treatment, Tara? Does it involve the nut that I mentioned this morning? Right. Yeah, if only, right. But this one is so it's so easy. Just eat some walnuts. I don't know. You have to check out this guy. The videos on my Telegram. It's so brilliant how this guy came to this conclusion. It just, and this really, what I was thinking about all this. Yeah, you're right, Richard. The What heals the lungs, Tara? Oh, okay. So, Marianne McGregor. Okay, so yeah, I posted some of Marianne's healing ideas on my Telegram channel. Yeah, we're leaving Egypt. 100%, sister. We're leaving Egypt. That's key, man. But the key to this whole thing is that, okay, if we pause to consider, it indeed seems strange that Paro would have to send the people out. This is what's strange, and this is what's cool about the Parsha. They're saying the name of the Parsha is Beshelach, which means he sent. They didn't name it the splitting of the sea, or beating up Amalek, or or any of those things. There are really some cool things that happened. They didn't name it that. They named it Beshelach. He sent out. So, uh-huh, uh-huh. I'm not going to mention it, but cool. That's amazing. Uh-huh. Well, I definitely have to check it out. I mean, I haven't been able to like function for 2 weeks. I'm really a basket case. Anyway, so the idea is that Beshalach, why name it? Uh-huh. Interesting. Uh-huh. I got to write this down. Well, I can check it out. I see all the comments stay on the tape. So why do we yeah, a lot of natural things. Yeah, all these guys are going down. I mean, they are all going down. I watched this long question and answer with PG last night, and very interesting. He thinks it's really going to happen soon. But anyway, so why? The answer is that there are two dimensions to the Jews' desire to leave Egypt. And this is really pertinent to what's going on today, because we are so used to being slaves that we can't even really imagine what it's going to be like. And we're being sent out. We have to like be forced a little bit. That's why this parsha is so interesting. The answer is two dimensions of the Jews' desire. On the one hand, they were eager to leave the bonds of oppression and become the chosen people at Mount Sinai, as we said. This desire, strong and genuine as it was simply a direct result of the situation and the opportunities available to them. It was a rational desire that was essentially dictated by logic, a desire about which they had virtually no choice. So it wasn't like on such a high level. And this, by the way, ties in totally to Tanya when we talked about how you have to shecht, how you have to kill, basically like when they talk about ritual slaughter of an animal is shechting, but shecht means to elevate. So, but they said in Tanya a few days ago, said you have to shecht your intellect, meaning your intellect isn't enough. Your intellect is not enough to sustain you. It has to be, you have to connect to godliness. How am I feeling? I'm feeling like I'm better than yesterday. Yesterday I just laid on the couch all day, but I haven't been out of the house except this morning I went. Yeah, I'll take a look. I went out to buy some walnuts because I read this thing about walnuts. So I left the house, and oddly enough, I turned down an invitation for my family on Friday night, and I met the guy whose house we were supposed to go to at the grocery store. I was a little embarrassed, but I said, "Look, I'm only here for I'm in it for the walnuts." Uh-huh. Teeth got worse. Oh, We're allergic to the nuts. Yeah. I mean, this is a new thing, although it came out in August of 2020. I'm not sure. I have to check the thing. Anyway, so we're going, and this goes for Carla Joe also. The, so there are two dimensions of leaving. At the moment they were free, they experienced an altogether different type of desire to leave. The minute they breathed the fresh air of freedom, the profound contrast between their enslavement to the idolatry of Egyptian materialism and freedom from it afforded by the godly hit home. So it's like it was like one thing they're thinking, oh, we're gonna leave, it's gonna be good, we're not gonna be slaves anymore. But until they really tasted the other side, until they really felt the freedom, and it went like above the intellect, they just like felt it. They just, I always talk about Das, the sphere of Das, that Das like has this thing where it recognizes truth. Like the chokmah, the male aspect, and the female aspect, they can be debating whether or not something is good. And then Das says, yo, man, step aside. I see it, man. That's the truth. It's emes. It's good. So that's when that's really, I think, as a people, as a nation, as a globe, really, I mean, we have to like feel the freedom. Yeah, that's why, Carla Joe, I wanted to put you and Tara together on this issue because you both have like close friends that are involved with this. So, I thought you guys would be kumbaya. You could relate to each other. Wow, does that mean Mel's here? Mel, you're here? That's so cool, man. Thank you. I'm sorry, Richard, man. Right, we shecht because yeah, we don't want the shechting has to be instantaneous. The animal cannot suffer at all. If there's anything wrong with the knife, it's not kosher. It has to be completely kosher. The Exodus generation had issues, right? And we are that generation. We are an incarnation of the generation that went through the Exodus. So we have those issues, man. And going free, I mean, we've been enslaved for 6,000 years. We've been enslaved to these monsters. And to taste the freedom is going to be huge. So I think that's the main thing here, that in this context, all the miraculous events of the Parsha can indeed be considered subordinate to the general tenor expressed in the word beshalach. For once the Jews began to relate to God on a supra rational level, the stage was set for God to transcend the laws of nature in his reciprocal relation with them. It was precisely this ascent to the super rational connection with God that provided the spiritual impotence for all the miraculous events of the ensuing narrative to take place. In other words, the splitting of the Red Sea and all this other good stuff, the victorious war they had, everything. Yeah, we got to look inside first. Don't look back, right? Don't be like Lot's wife. Yeah, you don't want to look back. But this is us, and we are the incarnation. We are literally an incarnation of the people from the wilderness, the midbar. And we are faced with the same issue because it's not, maybe our grandchildren, maybe, will like they'll be born into freedom, complete freedom. It'll be different. They'll be on a completely different level. And they say the souls coming in now are very high souls that can handle this. But right now, we need a little extra push to get us out of slavery. It's not enough. Like Mel and I are talking about, man, like with the financial thing, and it's a struggle because like you have to believe. I mean, like like I'm between systems, so I'm at the same time I'm experiencing, a non-existent bank account. I'm thinking like if a certain switch is pulled, and they let gold and silver go up, and they let XRP go up, everything will be different. And I'm not like you, Mel. I would not buy a boat. I don't think. Maybe I would buy a sunfish, like a little sunfish. Those are always the most fun boats because you can get wet, you can capsize, and it's no biggie. I do like canoeing, though. I like canoe camping. That's my favorite way to travel. Although I had such a nice hike with my son this summer. I bet Costa Rica is great for hiking. We had such a nice hike in New Hampshire together. I wouldn't have traded that for anything, even though I could not keep up with my son. He's 20. And I was like, oh my gosh, Randall, where are you? I had to call him once in desperation. We were like going up a mountain, and it said 7/10 to the top. And I was like, it can't be. I know I went 7/10 already. I called him on the phone. I said, Mendel, where are you? I must be lost. I can't find my way. I've already gone miles and miles up this hill. And he's like, no, Tati, it's just a little farther up. Just keep going. But, you can get into crazy spaces out in the woods, because you realize there's no safety net. I mean, you're basically on your own. You're not going to walk into a store and ask the manager for directions. I mean, you're up on a mountain and there's nobody around. Where we went, part of the trip was on where there were a lot of people, but part of the trip where we were like completely like nobody else was there. But anyway, hey Abe, Basement, yeah. So yeah, a nebulizer, yeah. I probably, I'm hoping this thing will go away soon. I mean, but anyway, so that's it. So that's like the big take home from Beshalach. And I also wanted to let me read the Rebbe's conclusions too. Okay, the word Beshalach also alludes to what the Jews accomplished in this process. As we have seen, and I include all of us, man, it's not, every action we take has a, here they use ridiculous words, concomitant reaction in the spiritual world. I mean, duh, they have to use a big word. That's because English is a second language to a lot of these guys. But here, when the Jews' desire for divine freedom became so intense that its previous form appeared as coercion in a comparison, this caused a backlash in the world at large. The radical transition from the darkness of exile to the light of redemption caused Paro himself to be transformed from the personification of evil into a force for holiness. This is pretty cool. The very same Paro who had earlier crassly proclaimed, "Who is God that I should heed his word and send the Jews out of my land?" not only allowed the Jews to leave, but actively sent them away. He was like, go, man. This lesson applies to us today as well. A conception of God and a relationship with him that is based solely on reason are equally limited in its intensity. And this is the thing about shechting your intellect, about having to destroy your intellect. We are called upon him to go beyond the limitations of reason and reach an appreciation of God that is beyond our own selves. In this manner, it is possible to transform even Paro, our most cynical and materialistic characteristics, into being aware and conscious of God. By the way, this is not to knock materialism, because materialism can be used. I mean, materialism, it, in a way, is the highest form of spirituality, because so much of God is in materialism, and it's just really how you take it. And I mean, wanting, like the Rebbe always said, man, you guys should have nice houses. You should live in nice houses. There's no reason you don't have to. You don't have to walk around with burlap underwear all the time, man. It's not godly either. It's like you have to live. You have to be comfortable. In this manner, it is possible to transform even Paro, our most cynical and materialistic characters, into being aware and conscious of God. And indeed, it is the litmus test of our success in transforming the world into holiness. I hope I'm not reading too fast. But anyway, when we see the very forces of nature that constituted our most insurmountable obstacle in fulfilling our divine mission transformed into forces that aid us, when, like Paro, when they forcibly sent us out of Egypt, we know that we are achieving our goal. So when the bad guys say, go free, yeah, everywhere, all the time, 100%, Richard. When Pharaoh sent out the people, he was unwittingly sending them on the first leg of their journey towards the giving of the Torah and entry into the world of Israel. So they were not just leaving slavery, but they were going to get the Torah and going to Israel, even though it took them 40 years. And so it is with us. By elevating our relationship with God to the supra-rational level, I don't know why they use such language. I mean, supra-rational. I mean, what the heck does that mean? And transforming the gross materialism of reality into an active force for holiness, we will hasten messianic redemption and the new revelations of the Torah that will finally and ultimately transform this world into God's true home. Now, it says, by the way, that Mashiach will not bring a new Torah, but he will take the old Torah and show us new ways of looking at it that will help us transcend this reality. And I also I have to tell you, I saw this Pleiadian message again, and about how all our DNA strands need to be put together. But I couldn't help thinking. I said in today's video, I couldn't help thinking that the Rebbe always says the body will teach the soul. When Mashiach comes, the body will be on a higher level, because the body is atzmus. The body is the essence of godliness. It's that transcendent part of godliness that doesn't go through Seder Histalshelus. In other words, most of reality goes through different levels, but physical reality, in a sense, comes directly from God, and it's completely full of God. So the physical things will teach the spiritual things, just the opposite of what you would think when Mashiach is more revealed for us to see. Yeah, it's encoded in the DNA 100%. I think that, that has to be, and we just got to this point where we understand about DNA, but what they're saying is that the Kabbalah has lied to us about everything. We don't know. I mean, they're talking about like the Tesla free energy systems. You'll just buy like a box and stick it outside your house, and you won't even need wires. I mean, all this was unnecessary. The whole combustion engine thing, all this stuff will be gone soon, and we will build. So this is really the essence to me of this whole parsha, and the whole structure of reality, really. And this is the idea that we have to leave bad and run to do good. But even more, we have to like find the good in the bad. I mean, there's some things that are very forbidden, that might have, it's like food. I mean, food, people, you have to eat, and food is, the right kind of foods. And if you eat like Marianne and Carla Joe, and you really eat, good, healthy stuff, it's very holy to the hair shirt, right? It's very holy to eat, but on the other hand, you could take it too far, and you could become an overeater, and you become overweight, and then then you have to deal with health issues. And I mean, I have friends that are overweight, and they have to deal with like arthritis and bad knees and this kind of thing. It's just like, I mean, I'm blessed that I'm so nervous that I can't really gain weight, so I don't really have that issue. But I can only imagine that if you were addicted to food and you had to eat every day. I mean, I know for myself as an alcoholic, if I had to like drink like a little bit every day, forget about it, man. It would drive me nuts. I mean, I'm very happy not to have any contact with alcohol at all, but because I know I will get confused, and so too with food. But anyway, so that's this whole balance, this whole like struggle between. And it's not a struggle. It's not like, and we're going to go into Tanya in a second. I think okay. We have time, but this whole struggle it's not what you think it is. It's not like good is good and bad is bad, and you just have to like wear, hair shirts around all the time to punish yourself. I really don't think that's the way moving forward. I don't see that. I don't see that at all. I mean, in terms of my own thing, maybe it's because I was raised in kind of a liberal way that I just, the idea of like a, a punishing God, and I did wrong and I have to repent and all this stuff. Repent does not, I mean, the word for repentance is tshuva, which means to return. It's always translated as repentance, but that's a mistranslation. It's return to God, not repent. It's not about that. It's about return, man. God's good. He's here. He's it's not such a big separation. It's God, they say, is just like the simplest thing. It's like it's so simple it's hard. It's simple. It's stom is the word they use. Stom. God is stom. He's just simple. I'm learning a mimer with a friend of mine at about 7 o'clock every night. I sit down on the telephone with a good friend, and we plow through some Chassidus, which is a very big deal for me. And I recommend it, by the way. I mean, Jewish people, the Jewish educational system is centered around the idea of a chabrusa. Chabrusa means, AA. That's where I found out about God, was through AA. I had no concept. But the idea of chabrusa, and this is something that you guys should start to adopt. I mean, that maybe as this community develops, as our family develops, we'll do more of this. But I just want to throw out this idea for the future because I think it's really important. In Jewish education, people learn with chabrusas. What does chabrusa mean? It means friend. You learn with a friend. Two guys sit down. They usually sit across from each other. Sometimes they sit next to each other. If they only have one book, they sit next to each other, and they start to go through a learning. Now, when they're really learning, the contrary to public education, which is designed to make you stupid, contrary to public education, when the rabbis hear the guys screaming at each other, they're like, yes, they're really learning now. Like this silent, we learn in fear, in these classrooms, and I hope the teacher doesn't pick on me. And, I mean, the whole educational system that we've known is like a fear base. My son never knew that. So he loves to learn. He likes learning. I mean, he doesn't always he's not so, he's not so kumbaya religious. There's some guys who are just like really just gung ho. It's not my son. But he's very bright, and he's never learned math. He's never learned English, but he reads all the time. But anyway, the idea of chabrusa learning, in other words, let's say like Mel and I, for sure, we I guess Mel left. Okay, but like Mel and I we basically learn together. When we do an interview together, we basically are talking out loud to each other, and we're teaching each other. And that's like something that all of us can do. If you find a friend in this family, or you find a friend at the Chabad house that you really like, and you say, could we learn something? Or you could just go online. My wife goes online and she learns all kinds of shiurim with all the ladies get together, and they meet on Sunday night or whatever. And it's it could be like a rabbi, it could be like Manis Friedman talking to you, but it's probably even more productive. And Richard, especially if you're learning Hebrew, probably as soon as possible, you should get to a point where you're like learning together with somebody else. And that way, like me and my friend, because my Hebrew is not so great, I never had a chabrusa before. I always just learned by myself and figured I didn't want to weigh somebody down. But my friend is like, he's open to me. Hey, Karen. He's open to me, and we learn together, and it's really beautiful. There are editions now. We learned from a book that's Hebrew and English, and it's very very easy to learn from. And with a little bit of Hebrew knowledge, you could learn from it. You don't even need Hebrew knowledge. You could just read the English. Let me show you guys this book, because this is like a pretty recent. This is the book I learned together with my friend, and you'll see it has like the dark lines, I believe, are the Hebrew, right? No, the here's the English, the dark lines, and the Hebrew's right here. It's just like the Hebrew's short, and then so what we do together is like one of us will read the Hebrew, and then the other one will read the English, and then we switch. But it's they're like there's so many books now that have the greatest Hasidic treasures written in plain English. You know, I'm just saying, if you get tired of learning from Manus or Y.Y. Jacobson, which is a great way to learn, it's very helpful to have a chabrusa. Maybe that would be my humanitarian project, is just to have like, it's just to have a yeshiva where people really learn. I have all this experience with education, but they never let me do anything that I really wanted to do. I always got in trouble whenever I actually had fun with kids, because to me, learning has to be fun. I'm not going to, if I'm scared, I'm not learning. I'm scared. People say, oh, I mean, I've had people yell at me and, what did I just say? What did I just say? I'm like, that's not learning. That's fear. And that's what the Prussian model of education is based on, fear. So we should learn like my son does. And, in my community, the kids they don't automatically go to college, but nobody really worries about them because they know how to learn.
Yeah.
And they're very resourceful. Yeah, apparently the old notions of electricity. I know. Richards, that's going to be amazing. I wonder if they have them already. 11. If you could just order a Tesla, they're saying it's just a box you stick outside your house, and it collects electricity and sends it to your appliances.
All right.
Thanks for breakfast. My son made scones, and also he's giving me some of his oatmeal. I had garlic and lemons. I chewed on the lemon peel and lots of walnuts. We'll see what happens. Shul? I don't think so. I don't know. I don't think so. It might be. Might be something I don't know. Biohealer, yeah. They're saying that the med beds are not so close, but not so far. I don't know. By Tesla, yeah. And they've been suppressing all this technology, all these bad boys. You don't mean like shul, do you? Like basement shul? Shul is not. Yeah, it's so exciting. Really exciting. We're going to be free, man. And that's what this Parsha, why the Parsha is so beautiful, because, it's not enough to just leave slavery. We have to build now. We're going to build a clean world, a world that won't be contaminated, where the oceans, you can eat the fish. I mean, I'm crying myself, because I took my son fishing this summer, and the fish was good, but it didn't taste like it tasted when I was a boy. It's tainted. It's a little bit tainted. It's not the same. And so imagine, I mean, clean rivers, clean air, no more chemtrails. All these bad boys, apparently we're very close to moving ahead. It is so exciting. It's going to be the thing is so that's why this parsha is so beautiful. It's like we left Egypt, we left slavery, but it's not enough to live slavery. And this is the key thing that I always I'm sure I told you this 1,000 times. It's not that we let my people go to be free. It's let my people be free to worship God. What does that mean? It means building a dwelling place for Hashem, for God in this realm, meaning clean air, healthy kids, things like, I mean, I saw a kid on the street corner today, and I was thinking, like, he looked really frightened. And, they're like, the kids have to be nervous about strangers and all this stuff. I didn't really have that when I was a kid. I mean, I grew up in a different thing, but I mean, all this fear, all these, I don't know what the word is, but all these people that are like maligned or misaligned, that are out of alignment, they'll be gone, or they'll be, I don't know. Bottled water, yeah, bottled water is also not good for you with all the plastic. They were talking about heavy water even. I mean, we have a lot to learn and a lot to do, and it's going to be amazing once we get started. But there's, we're going to be busy. I've heard he's a good guy. I think I heard last night he's a good guy. I mean, this SpaceX thing is going to change the internet for sure. I also heard that Elon Musk is spending billions of dollars on awakening projects, on the Great Awakening. Right. Yeah. Although I wish I knew. Like my wife is, she's a professional proofreader, but she's an expert. Thank God she's not in the room, because she doesn't like it when I talk about her. But she really can diagram a sentence. It's not all bad, because I was taught the other way. I was taught, like, just be free. It's like, I don't know. I'm lucky. I mean, I have a good grasp of English, but anyway, let's get to a little bit of Tanya before I blow all this time. Very interesting parsha, though. This is going to be an exciting week. I can tell you that. Remember, the Egyptians tried to follow us, and they were all destroyed. So the bad boys are probably going to raise their ugly heads, but according to what I heard last night, they are toast, and we are toaster ovens. Okay. I always used to joke when I was a teacher that I had a joke writer named, what was his name? Gosh, I forget what his name was. It was like Merwin or something, like a name like Merwin, but a Jewish name. And that I always joke that I didn't pay him. I guess his name is on the tip of my tongue. Anyway, that I wasn't paying him enough, so he was giving all the good jokes to the other teachers. That's why all my jokes were bombs in class. But I don't. We'll talk about him very seriously. The kids were never really sure if this guy really existed. If I'd be like, yeah, he really doesn't give me the good jokes. He gives them to all the cool teachers. They get all the good jokes. That's why, I'm telling you. Sometimes, when you're in a classroom, sometimes, and you're with the same teacher for a long time, it's like you'll hear the same jokes over and over again. Okay, so let's just quickly go to Tanya for today, Sunday. Now they're continuing with this same phrase, which is the key to Tanya. That is, this thing is very near to you. And this is also echoed in the Parsha, that God is very near to us. It's not complicated. It's not an intellectual thing. It's not something you're going to figure out. It's something that you just kind of ease into. It's like current in a river. They're toast. Yeah. Yeah. Sorry, Richard. Okay. So anyway, so they're going to continue on with this idea that, and this is a key phrase in Tanya, that this thing is very near to you to do it. Very ma'od, very near to you. So it starts out. It says in today's lesson, every Jew has hidden, or every person really has a hidden love towards God, which makes it easy for to be very near by learning Torah and fulfilling mitzvahs. We all have mitzvahs. You guys have 7, we have 10, but it's all mitzvahs. But he says, to explain more clearly and precisely the word very. So he's not going over the whole verse. He's just saying the word ma'od, which means very. So this thing is very near to you. What do you mean? God is very near to me? How could that be? I mean, where is he? It's like, but okay. So they're saying, yeah, you can generate an intellectual love, yet it cannot be said. Yet you cannot say that's very near to you. So one should recognize with certainty that even the person who has only a limited understanding of God's greatness, so that he lacks the materials necessary for meditation, and he has no heart to comprehend the greatness of the blessed Ein Sof of God, his mind and heart are not suited to meditation, so that he lacks the tools for meditation, yet it is very near to you. So I think he's saying, the Alter Rebbe is saying that it is very near thing for him to guard himself from transgressing the prohibitive commandments through a fear of God, and to practice the positive commandments which require a love of God. These together compromising all the commandments of the Torah, and in particular the study of Torah, which counterbalances them all. Okay, so this is where you guys need to find chabrusas, find a friend where you can sit down and learn together. And that's the beauty of Judaism, is that there's so much written down. I mean, we're such nerds that everything got written down. When I was living with my Wiccan priestess, my second wife, I would say, "Where's the writing, man? Where's the books? And she'd be like, "Oh, we don't need books." I'm like, "Well, we need books. We write down everything. I mean, we know what a rabbi in the 17th century said about Abraham. I mean, everything is written down." Oh, Shaul, yeah, Shaul, yeah, right. You're talking about, yeah, the right, the place of the grave. I understand what you're saying now. Okay, I got you. Hey, prophecy seeker. Yeah, no, I got your emails. No problem, man. Anytime. Um, and I think I settled that problem about the reviews. I think we worked on something, but my friend Shaquille wanted to. He's trying to sell my course a little bit, give us some kind of an income stream, and I'm working on that. Udemy, but I've been too sick to really work on my course lately, but I'm hoping to get I have to get some kind of income stream, and then at the same time I'm hearing, like, I hope this war is over soon. I mean, I would I would like to get my boss to, like, pay me for all the months that I didn't get paid. I mean, anyway. Okay, so that's it. So it's very near to you. Okay, so the hidden love present in the heart of all people, I'm going to say all people, that is inheritance for us from our patriarchs. So this is it. It's in your heart. It's very near to you. For as it is stated, observance of the prohibitive commandments requires a fear of God. Therefore, the statement that the hidden love of every Jew will lead him to observe all the commandments implies that this love also contains an element of awe, like this, awe and love and fear. It's all kind of mixed together. So you're a descendant of Abraham, Yitzhak, and Yaakov. You received, and this goes for everyone. I mean, you're children of Yitzhak. I mean, even if you're not Jewish, you're Esav. So, and Esav is on a higher level in a lot of ways than Isaac, because he comes from Tohu. He comes from that limitless light that in its source is so beautiful and unified with God, but when it comes down, it thinks that it's got dibs on all reality. It doesn't want to share with others. But so that's it. I think that's I guess the key word is ma'od, very. But that's such an interesting thing to explain more clearly and precisely the word very in the verse. For this thing is very near to you. Okay, I mean, how that translates, sometimes you feel, I usually feel when my heart chakra opens up. When my heart opens up, I feel like, wow, you can feel it. It's, but yeah, I haven't been feeling so great lately. So my heart chakra's not been open. The one other thing I also want to say about now, since we're dealing with leaving Egypt and matzah, is that on the first night of Passover, the matzah we eat is the bread of faith. On the second night of Passover, we do two seders outside of Eretz Israel, outside of the Holy Land. We do two seders in Passover. The first night, the matzah is the bread of faith. The second night is the bread of healing. So there are stories. Hey, Matthew, there are stories. Elderberry. I had some elderberry this morning. There are stories that the Rebbe would give out pieces of his matzah and it would heal people. Homemade matzah, man. I mean, that's, if you guys can get some homemade matzah, I mean, there should be a way. There should be a way where I could ship you homemade matzah. We'll have to figure that out. I really wanted to get into some merch things, some books, probably some books, and the dreaded coffee mugs. I want to have a bunch of mugs with my logo on it to drive my wife insane. She'll have to see my face when she's drinking coffee. I'm sorry. When you live with somebody for a long time, you're not just man and wife, but you're also like brother and sister. We have a very intense, long-lasting relationship. God love her, poor thing. Because I got bounced around. I'm afraid to use my original YouTube channel. I'm using like a second channel because they said one more site and you're out. We want mugs. Me too, man. My mugs are like fun. You can see, man. I got a mug. I use the same mug, and it's got a chip out of this. This is broken, so I just have to figure out. I mean, Richard's. I'm still trying to figure out Patreon and all these other things. But yeah, merch. See, when I was almost going to have 10,000 subscribers, but if anybody knows about merch, please contact me because I don't know how to do it. I know Rob wanted to do something, but I haven't really heard from him. He had to go back to work. So if anybody wants to help me with the merch thing, I mean, I'm just afraid to get involved in more things because I'll be even more scattered. Mugs with handles in the microwave, right? Yeah, I guess so. What's the solution, Richard? To have mugs without handles? I guess you could do that. I don't know if Tea Drinker's on right now. We don't have a lot of people on today, but we have a subscriber named Tea Drinker, and the when you make tea, the temperature of the waters is very important. So every time you change to another vessel, you lose, like, let's say 10 degrees of heat. You don't put them in the microwave. Uh-huh. Yeah, we circumvent that because we don't even have a microwave. Somebody once gave us a microwave and we ended up giving it away. My wife didn't want it. Yeah, thanks, Carla Joe. You're right. Yeah, I'm already confused enough. Thank you. And really, the most important thing is is just to keep the message and to keep and to let people understand that Torah is alive. It's not like an old dusty book. It's like it's a living manuscript, and it changes over time. Yeah, our poor wives have to put up with us. Let's see. Study. Okay, well, I guess Amalek. Yeah, Amalek is at the end. There's a war with Amalek, and that's also very much about the Kabbalah. So we have Cabal and Cabal. We have the Cabal when we're leaving Egypt. They're running after us, and they're trying to get in their last dibs before before Jasara comes into play. There's PG, the guy who is on Rumble last night, was saying that it's very close, and even saying, kind of hinting that Russia already started it. Yeah, it's very current. Changing the meat could be. Yeah, so I'm hoping I'll get my voice back by tomorrow. I'm eating a lot of walnuts and lemon rind and ginger root and garlic. And I think Marianne said I should put a little pepper with my turmeric. Yeah, less stuff than before. So I think we're coming. Yeah, we're at 12 o'clock. So thank you guys so much for coming by, and we'll meet again tonight. Maybe my voice will be a little bit better by tonight, and we'll kind of recount. A lot of things are happening. I mean, I'm looking at, excuse me, a telegram, and I'm seeing, like, they're all kind of saying like it's about to happen. So let's hope. Okay. Anyway, shalom, and we'll see you guys tonight. Sorry, I'm a little spaced out, but yeah, find a chabrusa if you want. The best way to learn is with a friend. Okay, we'll see you. God bless.